Olivier has a unique background and a lot of energy. He served in the French Air Force before joining Procter & Gamble. He joined the entertainment industry at Polygram Video before becoming Vice President of Marketing at Universal Pictures. He went on to launch the audiovisual department at Universal Music Group and led the global marketing division, whilst also somehow finding the time to earn an MBA at London Business School. And if that isn't enough, he also today runs his own taekwondo studio. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Olivier Robert-Murphy.
Thank you so much. See you in a minute. Good morning, everyone. We're together for 30 minutes. Let's make this an enjoyable experience and an easy one. It is very well documented that in 2019, the youth are driving culture. This 17-year-old young lady is probably the #1 most influential person on earth. 16-year-old Greta Thunberg is influencing policy on climate change. Students all over the world are pushing for new reforms. What is lesser known is that in my youth, I too was a driver of culture. Yes, I was, and I'm telling you why. Literally, I was chauffeuring artists named Prince, Quincy Jones, or Madonna in the streets of Paris. So I do believe I'm totally legitimate to talk about driving culture. So on this note, we're going to talk about culture because that's my world, I just explained it, and also because I believe cultural capital is what creates brand success. We're going to talk about change, the changing world we live in, although has it changed? And we're going to talk about trends, new trends, because there are new trends every day. Let's start with change. We did some research looking at the business world of today. It is what we do day in, day out. However, we wanted to investigate this a bit further. And so my team researched this, and someone said, well, before to start, let's look at what McKinsey has to say. And what do they have to say? They say that change is a dominant fact of life in every business today. Change means cost, yes, but if you don't change, it means ever more cost. But they also gave us 5 new key trends: the dominance of a consumer, the importance of research, insight, analysis, the rise of test marketing, etc. Could we agree that capture what we're talking about today in businesses and marketing? Yes? Good. Well, that DJ is Dutch. It means, well, you know what? Do you know when McKinsey said that? In 1966. It was the year when Holland has his first ever now legendary Amstel Gold cycling race. It was when England won the World Cup, the first and only time. It was also when the Beatles were on tour. In Holland, it was #1, by the way, with a song, Michel, my belle. You remember that one? And it was also, more importantly, the year I was born. Yeah, it's me. There's a policeman here, but that doesn't matter much. I asked my team, this is interesting. Can you look at this a bit deeper? And then this guy came to my office and said, I find a very interesting story called the modern marketing, the modern business, about how a specific brand is using marketing. He's talking about nostalgia, he's talking about flagship store, consumer experience, celebrity endorsement. So I was interested, what's the brand? Is it Adidas? Is that Red Bull? Is that Burberry? Hell no. He was Josiah Wedgwood. And do you know who is Josiah Wedgwood? He's the man behind the mass production of pottery. Pottery, not poetry. And do you know when he was? In 1766. 200 years earlier than the McKinsey article. So I told my guys, can you keep looking? This is becoming interesting. Bring it on. And then someone came with this, the White Rabbit, in 966, over 1,000 years ago. And this has all elements of marketing of today. It was a sewing needle shop, but the stone rabbit was in front of a shop to indicate the location. There were discounts for retailers. And it was about storytelling as well, because the rabbit is the symbol, for instance, of feminine power, etc., etc. What I'm trying to say, and I'm going to use a French say to illustrate it, plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. So the fundamentals haven't changed. What had changed? The pace of business has accelerated. Bottom left graph is to show that it used to take a year in Italy to launch a new clothing range. Now it takes a few weeks. The top right graph shows there is a new iPhone every year. Yesterday or the day before, they launched 3. Business cycle is shorter and quicker. And I'm sure you probably heard about this, but it's always good to repeat it. We live in a world before, we used to live in a world of relative scarcity. You were doing your weekly shopping, you were buying it off a shelf because you saw the product on TV. What is interesting today, no internet, no e-commerce, no label. What is interesting today, any product, services, anywhere in the world, 24/7 from your iPhone, deliver, sometimes the same day, to your house. But let me give you a few more facts whilst we're there. Havas released research showing us that 77% will not care if brands will disappear tomorrow. So my favorite brand will disappear tomorrow, 77% of them will not care. There is no more loyalty, there is no more love. I remember Harley Davidson, they used to offer employment for life because they knew there's this loyalty. Where now you're buying a Harley Davidson and 2 years after you're buying a Ducati or whatever. There is no more loyalty, there is no more love. Brands are fighting to get consumers' attention, and especially the one of millennials. On average, people are exposed every day to 4,000 plus advertising every single day. So the attention span of millennials has now reduced to 12 seconds. And if you think it's not much, for the Gen Z, it's 8, the generation that follow. So yeah, that's not much. In fact, you know what? I do believe we live in a world where people wants to be brand and brand wants to be people. Think about it. Our kids wants to be popular. They want to be influencer. They want to be a brand. Do you have TikTok, some of you? Yes. I pride myself to say one of my videos recently had 500,000 views, and I want to be popular. At the same time, you have all these people who want to be popular. It's very strange because the brand, they want to be people. They want to be, let me give you an example, Katy Perry. She's got 78 million people on Facebook. If you ask any of her friends on Facebook, who is she? They're going to say, she's my friend. How can one artist, one person, one brand could have 78 million friends? Let me show you an example of what I'm saying. A lot of us aspire to be a star. A lot of these kids, they want to be an artist. So Wrigley's, the chewing gum brand, understood that and in Australia, and they helped to facilitate people to become artists. The concept is the following. Wrigley's bought all pre-roll ads on YouTube to give it to unsigned artists. Have a look.
Extra, YouTube, and Universal Music present an all-new stage for unsigned artists.
You sick of those ads before our music?
Yeah.
That's why we're handing them over.
To 16 of today's freshest talent.
I don't give a damn if you're nasty.
We transform 17.2 million pre-roll ads into an all-new digital stage for unsigned artists. 16 emerging artists supporting 4 industry superstars. Every support act got their own music video with an introduction from the artist you were searching for.
Check them out.
Then people voted with their views. And the longer you watched, the more you voted.
It's not just a typical corporate, big corporation kind of thing where they're pushing their brand to as many people as they can. They've just gotten behind young talent and helped them out.
They're using their power and their reach to help people in a non-corny way.
It's literally just a digital version of what support acts get playing live, and I think that's awesome.
Extra support acts, giving up-and-coming musicians their time to shine.
That, up to now, I've shared with you various facts, but what does that mean for businesses and media? Well, it means that we need to ask ourselves why. This guy, you know him, is Simon Sinek, and he's explaining it very well. He's saying brands need to start questioning themselves with why. A lot of brands know how to do that very well, and he's using the example of Apple. He's saying they don't sell mobile phone and tablet, they're selling a way of thinking differently through great design. And I was thinking about it, I said, well, let's try to find some other example. Lynx, the legendary Lynx effect. Coca-Cola, provide happiness. Red Bull gives you wings. Universal Music, we provide emotions and moment. If you think about it, these brands I've just mentioned, they are exactly where they want to be today. And still a lot of companies are still very much focused on our left brain. Let me explain. The left brain is the operational one. We've seen this before, but it's very much about delivery focus. It works sometimes, but it's missing a bit of magic. Or should we be focusing on the right brain, the creative, the aesthetic, the emotional one? Where it looks like the best performer can join both sides. The left brain is important but boring. The right brain is promising but incomplete. The brands that link the two brands, they do two things. They are purpose-led, and they know how to put soul in telling their stories. Because, as Brené Brown said, stories are data with a soul. I'm going to show you now a perfect example of that. It's from a Spanish liquor brand called Rua Biera. And that shows that this campaign shows that we should enjoy life. We should stop looking at our mobiles, and we should embrace the moment. And thanks to data and tech, and just 10 questions, they could predict how long you have left with some of your loved one. Have a look.
Rua Vieja, a small Pernod Ricard liqueur brand, wanted us to realize that our time is limited and that there's nothing more precious than spending it with the people we love most. By using a simple calculation and data collected from the National Institute of Statistics, we discovered that it was possible to create an algorithm capable of calculating how much time we have left to spend with somebody. To raise awareness, we rolled out a campaign showing real people's reactions to the results.
Qué terrible, ¿no?
No me imagino no volver a verlo.
Me parece muy poco.
Es poco, ¿eh?
Eso es muy poco.
Perdemos el tiempo haciendo cosas que no nos hacen felices.
In just 24 hours, it sparked a global conversation.
El tiempo que pasarán ustedes con la gente que les importa se puede calcular.
Una campaña española de Navidad está remeciendo a muchos.
Los anuncios que van más allá de la publicidad.
Because of an ad that's gone viral in Spain.
Almost 1 million people visited the website from 194 different countries. The campaign inspired memes and parodies. And even a Chilean TV channel spent an hour of airtime talking about it.
Que viaja de móvil en móvil.
And then, this happened. Thousands of people began to share their get-togethers, thanking Rua Vieja for making them possible. We Have to See More of Each Other became the most watched and shared Spanish ad in history. So the brand decided to abandon its media plan and to channel the cash into financing more reunions between people, paying for thousands of bus tickets, allowing people living far away from each other to get together. And that is how a small liqueur brand reminded the world that we need to see more of each other.
You know, when I see this, I'm going to digress a bit. A lot of people talk about storytelling. I think they should talk maybe more about story feeling. This brand made me feel something. I did the test, and I found out I have 16 days and 10 hours left with my dad. So, before everyone book buses and trains to tickets to go home, let's move on to the next slide. Amazing to see, however, what digital and data, if it's done properly, can tell us, right? Let me stay a bit longer on the topic of digital. Our industry, the music industry, has dramatically changed in the last 20 years. You know that, from the time of the Spice Girls, the huge hit, it was all physical, to today biggest successes like Despacito, you know this one, all digital, coming from Latin America, no borders. The people engage with music, the way they engage with music has fundamentally changed. And I started by mentioning this young lady. She's Billie Eilish. If you don't know her, sorry to say, you're probably living in a cave, because she's the biggest pop star in the planet. Let me put it in other words. She's our very own Kylian Mbappé, if I want to use the sports analogy. Well, our artists such as Billie are no longer simply musicians, as they interact with fans across every touch point 24/7. And they produce some of the best content to the great pleasure of the always-on consumers. When we had to adapt our release cycle. Here you can see what a release used to be. One big release a year. And then now, we had to adapt to always-on approach in music. It was a necessity to survive in the current environment. But not only we adapted everything we do. This is, I mentioned Katy Perry before. Before, a new release was taking 3 months. Today, it takes 6 weeks. Micro-content is developed for everything we do. Instagram sticker pack, fans invited to sing along Katy Perry on TikTok, customized gift on the Giphy homepage, Snapchat filters, you have QR codes, you go on bus stop across city around the world, so you could have a snippet of the music video, etc., etc. Because this reflects the industry we are in today, the market we are in today. Not only we did that, but we categorize our audiences not by demographic anymore. We categorize them by their level of engagement. Let me use another analogy from the sports industry. You don't speak in the same way to someone that goes every week to see a football match. You don't speak in the same way to someone that reads just the sports news on a Sunday morning. And if he's not interested, you don't talk to him at all. It's fine. So to do this, you need the right tools and data. In this case, in this slide, there's an artist called Troye Sivan. You could see here, let's spend a bit of time, that he's posting 2.9 times, nearly 3 times a week on Instagram. Every time he posts, he reached 9 million people. From these 9 million people, nearly 500,000 like, comment, or share. In the media world of today, if any brand will want to do this, it will cost nearly 200,000 just to do that. These kind of tools are very important because I just mentioned one post on Instagram. But there are a lot of content that is going to be produced. Don't worry, it's the most complicated slide. There's no more like that after. In this case, you see on the left, if you want to have highlighted in yellow, if you want to be told something new, then an interview is the best way to communicate that. So depending on what you want to do with a consumer, you produce a different type of content. I want to show you now an example of what could be content. We all know Dubai as a holiday destination, as a big luxury hotel, big shopping malls. Well, we talked to them and with our friends at Havas they wanted to shift their brand perception towards more a cultural destination. And so data and insight told us that the audience they wanted to talk to was exactly the audience of Imagine Dragons, the band. So we flew them there, and we filmed a lot of branded content. We filmed Imagine Dragon. What did they did? They did skydiving. They did skiing in a shopping mall, quad in the desert, etc. And we released all of that. We filmed a music video, which is incredibly showing the beauty of these cities. And I cut a story short, but 1.2 billion people have seen this. And now 22% of them are more likely to consider Dubai as a holiday destination. Let me play you a short video.
We needed to boost consideration of Dubai as a holiday destination to global travelers. But this audience resists traditional advertising. So we took a completely new approach. Location placement. By setting a music video in the city, we would put Dubai at the heart of the most popular content on YouTube. Social posts from the band during and after filming gave the campaign authenticity and brought the city into fan conversations organically. We extended those conversations with exclusive behind-the-scenes footage and additional content showcasing Imagine Dragons enjoying Dubai.
What, in this example, we've seen Dubai has built is cultural capital. What does that mean? I believe cultural capital is what creates brand success. Here's why. People are pulled towards what speaks to them on a personal level. And you do this by creating an emotional connection through relevance. And if you do that, you're building cultural capital. And you keep doing it, and you keep putting cultural capital in the bank, and you are fully relevant. So that was the theory. Now the practice. We took 8 of the fastest growing artists in the world today, and we asked everyone, why now? Why at this specific moment, this specific type of behavior is so relevant to you? What cultural need are they meeting? Why are you listening to them? Listening, not listening music, listening in the large sense of the word. The 8 words in green you see on these slides are cultural needs that exist and that are relevant in today's world. For example, the second one, truth and honesty. The increasing amount of fake news means people value truth and honesty in exactly the way Post Malone truly present himself. In doing so, we were in fact able to see parallels with more traditional business challenge, such as how do I create loyalty? How might I build social purpose? How can I drive product innovations? And I'm going to now have a look at 2 examples. First, how do I disrupt an existing marketplace? The top one at the right here. Well, this is something that comes absolutely naturally to Billie Eilish. Billie is able to disrupt an existing marketplace by focusing consistently on the freedom to express exactly who you are. She embraced difference, confusion, boredom as source of personal power. She reclaimed the power of his perceived negative, because all these claims are fine, in fact, actually good. And we also see brands' creative success using the same type of behavior. Nike, for example, they too reclaim the power of perceived negative, using rejection as fuel. Don't explain or justify yourself. Just do it.
Colin Kaepernick refused to stand during the national anthem, taking a knee to protest police brutality.
Nike revealed Colin Kaepernick as the face of its latest marketing campaign.
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
Is Nike taking a risk?
I think they're taking a stand.
Tonight, the first game of the new season, and Nike is running an ad featuring Colin Kaepernick.
If people say your dreams are crazy, good. Stay that way.
Most of this country was talking about this last night at their dinner table.
And I'm never buying another Nike product again.
Nike stock today dropping 3%.
Check this out. I went out today and bought me some Nike stock.
I want to applaud Nike. Speak up. We're right behind you.
This thing is bigger than just the United States, and I think it resonates throughout the world.
Kaepernick asegura que es
これ
suma.
キャパニック氏を起用しましたが、30 años de su lema Just Do It.
Nike stock reached an all-time high last Friday. I'm gonna buy more Nikes now.
Nike's on the right side of history.
So don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough.
This campaign was 27 Cannes Lions, including 2 Grand Prix. Not surprising. Now, let's look at a second and last example. How can I grow brand awareness and share a voice in an attention economy? This is natural behavior for Cardi B. Cardi B, in a world where it's easy to be overlooked, Cardi B is completely open and expressive. She makes her private public and to become visible in society. And in doing so, she reverses the dynamic of attention from object to commander. How does she do this? She's totally honest and transparent to a fault. She's unpredictable and unfiltered. She's larger than life. Anyway, check her Instagram, you will see what I'm talking about. But where else do we see these threats? In a world where social attention is everything, Burger King is completely open, expressive, and happy to make, what should be private public. Example, pictures of that restaurant on fire, or a car crashing into the restaurant. Don't drive when you're hungry. They too are larger than life. I've seen a house from them on. I've seen a restaurant as a Halloween house. They're honest, completely transparent, and funny sometimes where they do it. Let's see it in action.
Burger King wants you to come here. Yes to McDonald's.
Burger King is trolling its fast food rival
with a promotion available through the Burger King mobile app.
Yeah, but there is a small catch.
So I saw this Burger King commercial where you could get a Whopper for a penny.
Only if you open the app while you're at McDonald's.
That doesn't even make sense. You have to go to McDonald's for a Whopper?
Whopper?
Use Burger King's BK app, then be within 600 feet of a McDonald's restaurant.
Burger King geofenced over 14,000
McDonald's restaurants in the U.S.
Unbelievable. So I parked my news car about 100 feet from a McDonald's.
I'm at McDonald's getting a coupon for Burger King. I almost feel like I'm stealing. Let's go for the unlock.
Yes!
You unlocked the Whopper detour.
This is a really cool promo, guys. How fun is this?
Okay, where's the Burger King?
Like 4 blocks to your left.
This This is a very good campaign. I feel it's good to finish on a positive note. Let me try to summarize, and this will be definitely my concluding note. We've seen that the fundamental of many businesses haven't changed, but they are happening at a much faster pace. In a digital world, the world of the 4 Ps, which I used to work at Procter & Gamble, has been beaten up with the 4 Ps, the product, high level, etc. Is not enough today, and sometimes not even relevant. The right side of a brain promoting the 4 Es, I was talking about years ago, is probably not satisfactory either. We need an always-on relationship with consumer, entertain them emotionally and creatively, as we've just seen, by building relevance and purpose to give any brand the cultural capital they deserve. And if we do that, imagine we are in, if someone else, not me, in 2066 comes at the IBC convention to talk, and he's going to talk about the changing world and the worldwide population being at 10 billion, the manufacturing of electric cars at 40 million, and the decline of the slow death of a carbon energy era. Well, I hope he also says on that day, but it's okay. Nothing has changed. We are still culturally relevant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That was such an expansive presentation, and I loved the quote that you had about stories being data with a soul, because we're in an era where we have such multiple touch points. There's so much talk about big data. I mean, how do you create that balance and make sure that creativity is your competitive advantage?
Yes, to be fair, it's not my quote. It's the quote of Brené Brown. She's a research professor, and she used that. That said, it's true we have access to a lot of data. Every brand, every people now around the world, we have access to data. But the question always been for me, what do you do? What do you do with this data? We decided, as I've shown, to develop our own tools to really making it to give him, so he give us the information we need. And from this data, we could become more creative. It's important because the creative is going to be relevant to the people you do it. That said, data sometimes is not everything. And I'm going to use, for the sake of this question, to give me an idea, I'm going to give you a counter example. Data could tell us, if we look at data about songs, the song, any song, how do you make a hit song? A number one song. How do you do that? Well, data is going to tell you that the song needs to last 2 minutes and 49 seconds. It needs to be on a B key. The chorus needs to start after 47 seconds. What else can it tell you? The speed should be 127 RPM, etc., etc. It needs to be sung by a female. Does that make it a hit song? No. Because behind a song, you have a musician, you have a person, you have a group of people, you have a producer, you have musicians who's playing everything. It's a collaborative approach. You have a producer. It's a collaborative approach. That will make it a hit.
So there's no algorithm for creativity as yet?
If not, I would have applied it already.
And you talked a lot about cultural capital. And in an environment where you are looking to build cultural capital, I mean, how important is diversity and inclusion, and how do you drive that as such a vast global organization?
I have to say this is different for us, because at Universal Music, this is part of our genes. We have offices in every country around the world, and it totally reflects what we do on day out. We sign artists from any genre, any type of music, from any religions, any backgrounds, where they are. And so all this culture is embraced. We even record in 44 languages. So all of that makes it that, let me give you a confidential number. 60% more than 60% of the revenue of Universal Music is coming from domestic artists, meaning local repertoire. That to tell you how much it is embedded, this diversity and culture and inclusions is contribute to the success of what we do.
And you showed us a campaign for Dubai,
Yeah.
a really new kind of innovative way
Yeah.
to fuse kind of left and right brain thinking in your marketing. Do you have any other examples of campaigns that you think really stand out in this space?
There is a campaign that I loved recently. It was from National Geographic. They were launching a TV series called One Strange Rock, which is a planet Earth seen from far. And ratings were okay, but not great. And they wanted to talk to also a younger audience because it was the topic was very relevant to this younger audience, which is concerned by climate change. And so Data and Insight said that Zed, the artist Zed, the DJ, famous DJ and artist and composer, said it's exactly the people they want to talk to. So they organized for Zed to meet with astronauts. And all these people that have seen the planet from far. From there, he composed the music. And it became a big story. He loved it so much, he came out with a concept of a hashtag called Love Letter to Earth, which he posted himself. And obviously got a lot of visibilities. And at the end, if I remember correctly, the ratings of the TV series tripled. So it's about being relevant and being true to what they are.
And in terms of staying relevant, and you've talked to us about how you've began your career and driving cultural capital in a very literal sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in this time of continual disruption, what tips would you share with the audience personally and professionally about kind of how you thrive in the ability to do that in the face of seemingly constant change?
You said professionally and personally. I'm going to talk personally on this one. You have a job you're being paid for. They give you target, objective, and you have to deliver something. You have your probably KPI from your boss. You should never spend 100% of your time doing this, and sometimes more. You should keep part of your time and dedicate it to invest into something else. It's not only necessary because to be your next job, but it's to continue learning and to be connected with what's happening in the society today. I was teaching at London Business School 2 weeks ago, 6 months ago, I had a class, and I was talking about TikTok, as I mentioned it. And they all knew it, but no one was active. I was even more active than them to these kids. So I said, come on, engage, be curious, embrace everything and do it. There is a topic at the moment I'm quite interested with is DNA. I did this DNA test. I found out I'm not French, by the way. Only 4% French, but I'm Spanish and Irish. But anyway, the point is, I'm fascinating to see that. I'm telling you soon, you will buy cosmetic product and stuff like that based on your DNA. Yeah. And I'm sure that soon we'll be listening to music that your DNA like. I mean, this is, be curious. That's the conclusion.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I think that's all we've got time for. But you've made all of us more curious about your industry. So thank you for being so open and sharing such an interesting presentation with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to IBC 2019. You are the early crowd here, which is good to see. This is the first day of the show proper. It's the first day of the IBC conference this year. In fact, this is the first session of the IBC conference, so welcome. My name is Rob Ambrose. I am the consulting editor for the overall IBC conference and also work closely with the IABM team, so Peter White asked me to moderate this session. The theme for the conference overall this year is Consumers First, a New Era in Media. And that title, and I think the overall theme